I was getting ready to go on one of my long trips, and my mom was at the house, and it was a busy time, and we were having discussions about where Mom would be, and she was getting ready for a move to my older sister's house, and that's when the phone call came. When Penny called, it was later at night, and I had put Mom to bed, and she started out with saying, "I don't want to hurt you. I don't want to upset you. I don't want to upset your family. I have belief that my dad is your mother's son." And that was kind of a mixed feeling of, this has got to be a joke, but she was so sincere that I didn't think it was a joke. And I asked her why she thought that, and she told me about all of the history of how they had come to the family. And I said, "Well, how much do you know of the family?" And she knew more about my family history than I did. And but she was always so sincere, and I had to listen. At the end of our discussion, and I knew that she was searching, and there was reason to believe her. And so I said to her, "Give me your number." And we exchanged, well, she already had my number, but she was really grateful when I said, "No matter what, I will phone you back and let you know." And that was the start. I had to find out the truth because I had promised Penny I would. And so I thought, well, my sister is older. She can tell me about the time, because there wasn't much time between when Glenn was born and when my mom had come to Ontario. And so we got our heads together, my older sister Diane, and we figured out that Mom didn't come to Ontario until August, the middle of August. And it could have happened. And so that was the start of it. My sister was having a hard time believing it, getting her head around it. But for some reason, I had a calm feeling about it, and it was the truth. So that was really kind of exciting for me. Because Mom's health was failing, we didn't want to ask her right away, and we thought the only one in the family that might know is Aunt Jenny, and she's our favorite aunt anyways. So I said I would give Aunt Jenny a call and ask her, and I did within a day. And when Aunt Jenny answered the phone, I said, "Aunt Jenny, I got this call," and I told her what Penny had said, and I said to her, "Is that true, Aunt Jenny?" And she said, "You'll have to ask your mother." And we knew right then that it was true. I knew. And the joy was coming. It was so exciting. And I phoned my sister back right away and said, "It's true." And so the next step was to get hold of Penny and say, yes, that's what it was. It was a very, very special time. Feelings were very emotional. Mine were of joy, and for some reason of peace. I was just so happy to be a part of it and couldn't understand why God had chosen to go through me, which was a shock. My older sister was in shock. It took her a little while to get her head around it. But having an older brother, that was so exciting. And I did have to talk to my mom to make sure that it was confirmed. And it was a beautiful day. Sun was shining. Mom was just at peace. We were sitting in the kitchen and she was watching the birds, and I thought, this is the time. And I told Mom about the phone call, and I said, Mom, I am so happy that you did the right thing, that you gave us an older brother. I always wanted an older brother. And Mom had kind of hung her head, and she listened to everything I said, and the words came, and I didn't know exactly where they come from. It was just flowing from my heart. And so she, after a little while, she turned to me and she said, did you really want an older brother? And the joy. I said, Mom, that's the best gift you could have given us, and now we have him. And so I knew I had to phone Penny back. I had promised her I would phone back as soon as I could find out for sure what had happened. And so I had phoned her, and she was in the middle of a Bible study, and we were talking, and she sounded so joyful, so thankful that this was finally, we had connected. And so after a while she said, I'm going to have to go and tell my Bible study group that everything we have been praying for has come to the end. And I said, oh, that's really great. And she said, I'll phone my dad tomorrow. And I said, no way, you phone him tonight and let him know. And she kind of hesitated, and she said, yes, I will. And that's what happened. So the next morning, I got this call, and it was Glenn. And he was telling me he was my brother. And I was just ecstatic. I wanted to talk to him and get to know him, and the questions were just coming too quick, and I knew that Mom needed her peace, and I didn't want her to be upset or anything. So I went into my garage and was talking. We must have talked, a good half, 3/4 of an hour, and then my mom come looking for me, and she opened the door, and because she was having a really hard time trying to speak, when she said, who are you talking to? I was a little surprised, and I thought, well, this is the time. And so I turned to her and I said, Mom, I'm speaking to my brother. Would you like to say hello to your son? And she looked a little taken back and motioned that she didn't think she could talk. And I said, Mom, it's all right. Glenn knows that you can't always get your words out. Just listen to what he has to say. And he was talking, and Mom was listening, and it came out really clear. She said, and I have prayed for you too. And tears come to my eyes, but had to control myself because she, her health wasn't good if she was upset. So she gave me back the phone, and that was just one really great moment. Mom had asked that I not pass on this information to anyone. She wanted it kept private, so Randy knew, she knew that, and she also knew that Diane knew because I told her the whole story about phoning Aunt Jenny too. And so that was good. But my younger sister phoned and needed help with something, and I said, no, can't do it right now, and too many things are going on. And she said, what's going on? And I said, well, I really can't say. And she said, remember, we're not keeping any secrets. And so I said, okay, are you sitting down? And she said, why, yes, I am. And I said, well, you have a brother. And there was total silence. And then she said, how do you know all this? And I went through the story, and she said, are you sure that's true, that it's not just some kind of scam? And I said, Christine, Mom has already said that was true. And so we hung up, and her husband happened to be listening in, thought somebody had died, and he beat it out of her. And so that's how my youngest sister found out. So we decided to get together, and Glenn had already sent a beautiful little photo album to Mom of a pictorial story of his life, and a beautiful letter, and one to me, and it was so touching. So I knew what Glenn looked like, and we decided that we needed to get together, and he wanted to meet Mom, and we wanted that too, and so we made this plan.